What's up? We got The Flash, Season 2, Episode 13, Welcome to Earth 2. So this episode starts off with Barry and Will destroying all of the breaches. They destroy all of the breaches, except for they destroy all the breaches. So yeah. So Barry explains to Joe and Iris about how he's going to Earth 2 to save Jesse, and Iris is like, and Barry's like, hey, this is dangerous. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, but anyway, so so the rest go there too, but Jay's like, hey, don't fall in emotionally. So they go, and they immediately land on the colorful, sunny, bright of Earth 2, where Cisco and Barry are taking snapshots, and he's like, Alan, he's like, Ramon, he's like, Alan. So then Henry Hewitt shows up, but this isn't our Henry Hewitt. It's the nice, normal Earth 2 Henry Hewitt. Yeah, the nice, normal, and yeah, this guy's nice and normal. And they just freak out saying, you're just a nice, normal dude. And he's like, we'll just have, he's like, what was that? He's like, he's a villain on Earth 1. I like how they call it Earth 1. So yeah, so then we learn that in this universe, so in this universe, Oliver's dad is the Green Arrow instead of him, and Leonard Starr is the mayor of Earth 2 instead of Bella. Snart became mayor. Oliver's dad's the Green Arrow. What's next? Or the Hood. What's next? What's next? Laurel Lance. What's next? Diggle is some sort of military badass calling himself Military Man. What's next, show? And what's awesome? So Barry decides to speed in and take his nerdy, normal Earth 1 doppelganger and decides to take his nerdy Earth 1 doppelganger, switch places with him, and make it so our Barry's now Nerdy Barry now. So he goes to Earth 2's CCPD, and he discovers that Floyd Lawton is an officer. And he's like, Deadshot? And he's like, haha, that's not funny, Alan. You don't like that name. And it's still the same actor. So he's like, Captain? Because Sing's a bad guy on this one, just called Sing. And he's like, I ain't talking about anything. I ain't doing anything. And he's like, I know. Deadshot's like, I know. I know I'm the terrible. I know I don't have a good shot. And then Iris is like, Lawton, you are the worst shot in the department. And she's like, whoa, Detective West is Iris. Because he thought it was Joe. But we learn what Joe actually does in this universe a little bit later. So let me see Barry and Iris making out, because it seems like in this version, Barry and Iris are married. And she's like, where is your ring? Because Barry didn't realize his Earth 2 doppelganger had a ring on him. So he forgot to take that with him when he swapped places. So she's like, her meta-human app is going in your direction. But you can't be a meta-human. And he's like, yeah, it must be crazy. So let me see Caitlin. Earth 2 doppelganger of Caitlin, who goes by the name of Killer Frost. And isn't that the most badass name you've ever heard? And we also meet her boyfriend, Ronnie Raymond, or Deathstorm. Killer Frost does her. I'm going to refer them by their villain names because I don't want to be confusing them with our character from Earth 1. So So yeah. So then Killer Frost kills one guy, uses her frost kiss, but then another guy's about to shoot her when Deathstorm shows up, and he's like I'm always have to watch her behind, and she's like that's your job. So yeah, so he's like yeah, there's some breachers, and she's like, oh, I love killing people from other Earths, and he's like, well, it's your lucky day. So then Barry and Iris go to Jitterbug, the CCP, the Earth 2 version of CCJ, where Joe is a jazz singer who does not like Barry at all because he blames because in this version Barry wanted to become a CSI. Iris was working at as again in like Earth 1 Iris, she was working at CCPN, but to support Barry's but she had to support Barry's tuition, so she had to become a cop to support her husband's tuition, which caused Joe to not like him that much. Yeah, sad. So yeah, but then Joe starts singing again, but that's when Deathstorm and Killer Frost show up, and they're like, that's our song. So yeah, so she's like, which one of you lounge lizards is from the wrong universe? And she talks to Barry saying, hey, handsome. And he's like, hey, Caitlin. And she's like, you want to do this? I know you. And she's like, if you know her at all, she knows that she hates the name Caitlin. She's Killer Frost and throws icicles at Barry. And Deathstorm fires at Earth 2 Joe. Yeah. So while Iris's back is turned, Barry speeds on, and she's like, and Killer Frost is like, I've always wanted to kill the Flash, and he uses the Jake Garrick helmet to sound blast them off, and he's like, and Wells and Harry's pretty mad about this thing. Barry, you were supposed to stop Zoom. You were supposed to get Jesse, get out. But now Deathstorm and Killer Frost know who you are. That means they're gonna tell Zoom. And he's like, I gotta get to the hospital to see Joe, and see Joe and help Iris. But Harry's like, that's not Iris. Your Joe. That's not Joette. Your Joette is still alive on Earth, and so is Iris. And he's like, these people are just mirror duplicates. And he's like, she's not Iris. And he's like, she is Iris. She is to him. And on another Earth or not, they're still his family. I thought you would get that by now. So Barry leaves. So yeah. So obviously Earth 2 Joe dies because. So yeah. So back on Earth 1, because we have to follow 2 stories here. Back on Earth 1, our main team of Joe, Iris, Caitlin, Jay, and Joe are all like, there's this new metahuman named A Slick, aka Jew Manager. And he's like, is this another breacher? And he's like, no. His A Slick died on his Geo Man. Well, you know, his name is A Fell. His A Fells died on his Earth, so this must be an Earth 1. And he's like, where is the Flash? So yeah, so he's like, you better not hope the Flash doesn't show up. And he's like, there's the Velocity 7's working. But then he starts losing speed, and she's like, oh no, the Velocity 7 isn't working. So yeah, so they stop Bell. So they stop Bell's bell. Meanwhile, back on Earth 2, as I said, Earth 2 Joe died, and Cisco's like, hey, I'll help you. And she's like, and yeah, so they captured Deathstorm. So they can't see, and he's like, hey, is Professor Stein? Hey, Ronnie, is Professor Stein in there? And he's like, I haven't let him out in years. He doesn't talk much. So does that mean Ronnie killed his own version of Stein? Dark. I know he's evil. Does that mean Earth 2 Stein is dead? Was Earth 2 Stein evil too? Or was he a good guy that happened to be... Were him... I have a lot of questions. Were him and Ronnie both good guys, but they got fused together and he was picked out by Zoom and became a bad guy? Or did a good guy happen to be in love with a... fused with a bad guy? Who knows? So yeah, so he's like, and then Cisco's doppelganger shows up, revealing himself to be the real mastermind behind Zoom, calling himself Reverb. Okay. Yeah, and he's like, I can show you how you master your powers, the vibe. And she's like, you work for Zoom? And he's like, if you ever talk to me that again, I can shatter your whole nervous system. Wow. Is this vibe, is this Reverb like Super Saiyan Bleach Ichigo type power where he's super, where he can't be taken down? But obviously he can because they attack him, but then she's like, Zoom wanted him alive. You know what Zoom will do when you don't obey him. And then the writers are like, oh, guys, another Ronnie has to die. He kills Ronnie too, kills Cisco too, and leaves, he kills Deathstorm, kills Cisco too, kills Ronnie too, aka Deathstorm and Reverb, and keeps Killer Frost / Caitlyn 2 alive, saying, at least one of you knew their place, and kidnapped Barry. So then so he's like, Jesse, I'm here with your dad. We're gonna let you out. And he's like, you shouldn't make promises you can't keep. Flash. I do a great Zoom impression, don't I? And yeah. So that was Welcome to Earth 2. This was a pretty good episode. Mayor, Lawrence starts Mayor. Oliver's dad's the Green Arrow. Caitlyn and Ronnie are evil. Cisco's evil. Joe's a jazz singer who doesn't like Barry. Iris is a cop. Floyd Lawton is a cop. Sing's evil. I'm surprised about the whole Floyd Lawton thing. He even came in, and I don't think he's dead, but he was just like, you're a rotten shot, when he tried to shoot Reverb. Reverb, and he was like, you're a lousy shot. But anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time for the second half of this 2-part or 2 story.